Welcome back. In my last video, I talked about the sound of Latin vowels and vowel combinations. In this video, I'll talk about the sounds of Latin consonants, or at least the ones that are pronounced differently from the way we pronounce these letters in English. The word consonant comes from the Latin consonare, which means to make a sound with. These are the letters that don't have voice, but which accompany vowels in the formation of syllables and words. To put it another way, the vowels are the vocal letters, and you can make them sing by varying the pitch of your voice. Consonants are just along for the ride. You can't sing a song just using the letter C. Most Latin consonants sound exactly like they sound in English. Where there are exceptions, it's just due to the fact that in Latin, each letter is only allowed to make a single sound. The letter C is a very important example of this. In Latin, this letter always sounds like a K, as in the English word can, car, cake, cat. It never sounds like an S the way it does in the English words city or center. If the Romans wanted a word to start with the S sound, they would write it with the letter S. There are 3 double letters in Latin, which come from the Greek alphabet and are used to write Greek words. These are single letters in the Greek alphabet, the letters chi, phi, and theta. Originally, these 3 letters were accompanied by a breath of air, which is represented in Latin by the letter H, ha. Only the first one, chi, was still pronounced this way by the Romans. The other 2, phi and theta, were already pronounced the way we pronounce these letter combinations today. In Latin, CH is only used to spell Greek words like character and Christ, and it never has the sound we give it in words like cheese and church. Now, if you want to appreciate the difference between the ordinary K sound that Latin represents with the letter C and the CH it uses to spell these Greek words, all you have to do is put the palm of your hand right in front of your mouth and say car, car. Now say character, Christ. You'll notice that the K sound in these last 2 words was accompanied by a puff of air. You didn't need to be taught this when you learned the alphabet, but you learned it when you learned these words because they come from Greek and they are pronounced as they were in their original language. Let's move on to the letter G. This is always pronounced with the hard G sound we make when we say the words go and garbage. It never makes the soft J sound we use to say words like giraffe and giant. Now, we've already discussed the letter I when we talked about the vowels. The letter I says E in Latin. Here we see it on a list of consonants described in terms of the sound it makes before another vowel. Now, this looks like an exception to the rule that each Latin letter always makes the same sound, but in reality, it's not. When you say yes, or yellow, or any word that starts with the letter Y, you begin that word with the sound of the Latin I. E. Yes. Yellow. Now we make this sound very quickly, and we think of it as a consonant. The Romans would have heard it as a vowel, and they used it at the beginning of a whole lot of words, including some famous names. Names like Jupiter, Julius, Jesus. Now this very rapid y sound at the beginning of a syllable or an entire word was later pronounced with the tongue actually touching the roof of the mouth and written with a modified form of the letter I that we now know as J. Jupiter, Julius, Jesus. Moving down the list, we come to the Greek letter phi. It's written PH in Latin, and as you already know, this PH sounds exactly like an F. Philosophy, photograph. In some of the Romance languages, like Spanish, this PH is actually replaced by an F. The Spanish word for philosophy is filosofia. In Greek, philin means to love, and sophia means wisdom. So filosofia is the love of wisdom. The common girl's name, Sophia, can be spelled in 2 ways, the English way and the Spanish way. Either way, the name means wisdom. This brings us to the letter S, which always sounds the way it does in sing, s, and never has that buzzy sound we hear in the word busy. Now you notice when you make the sounds s and z, your tongue is in exactly the same place. But when you make the z sound, you add that buzz. This is called a voiced consonant. And another example can be seen in the two English pronunciations for the letters th. Th as in thick and thin, th as in this and that. Now to make either one of these sounds in English, you place the tip of your tongue right below your front teeth. But when you want to say the, you add that buzz. And it's the same buzz you added to make the s into a z. The point here is that Latin never adds that buzz to these letters. S always sounds like s, and th always sounds like th. Next we come to the letters U and V, and we might as well consider them together because the Romans consider them to be a single letter. Now, just as with the letter I, we've already talked about the letter U when we were discussing the Latin vowels. The letter U says oo. When we see it here among the consonants, it looks like another exception to the rule that each Latin letter makes a single sound, consistently. Again, it's not. This is because the W sound we've all been taught to hear in the word queen, like the Y sound we hear in words like yes and yellow, is just a very rapid version of an initial vowel. Queen, queen, queen. This is also the case when we talk about the letter V, which is the form that we'll see when this letter precedes another vowel or begins a word. This always sounds like the W in wine, which is to say, it's an oo sound. Ooh, wine, ooh, water. We say it quickly and we think of it as a consonant. And since this consonant would later acquire a completely unrelated sound, that of the V in victory, a new letter form was devised to represent the sound of initial oo, just as J was written to represent that Y sound. The letter obviously is just two V's put together, as they call it in Spanish, doble V, or as we call it in English, W. Now, if all this linguistic talk kind of makes your head hurt, just remember that the V always sounds like a W in Latin, just like the C always sounds like a K. Now, like so many of these consonants, the letter X makes one of the sounds it makes in English and not the other. So it always sounds like a K plus S, as in the word six. Never the Z sound we make at the beginning of the word xylophone. Finally, the letter Z, which is rare in Latin and only used to spell Greek words, sounds like it has a D in front of it. Z, Z. You know it's a rare letter when the example word they give you is something that you've never heard of in your life. An adze, in case you want to know, is a sort of agricultural implement like a digging stick. So we've reached the end of the alphabet, but before I go, I want to say a couple of words about how we know the value of some of these consonants in Latin. I mean, it's 2,000 years ago, there's no recordings, so how do we know that the C always sounded like a K and the V always sounded like a W? And there's no use consulting the Romance languages because they've all done their own thing with these letters over time. So what we end up doing is looking at Latin words that are written in other ancient languages, especially ones with different alphabets, like Greek. This is especially productive when we look at proper names, since these can't be translated into another language, but simply have to be sounded out. Take the name Caesar, which we've already discussed. When Greek writers wrote this name, as they often did, they started it with a kappa, which is the K in the Greek language, alpha, iota, sigma, the Greek S, another alpha, and this P, which is really the Greek rho, R. So the Greek transliteration of Caesar is Caesar. And they didn't just make that up, they heard it from the Romans. We can do the same thing with the letter V if we look at the name of the Roman Emperor Valerian, Valerianus in Latin. When Greek writers wrote this Roman name, they did not start with the letter V, even though they had a letter that they could use to approximate this sound. Instead, they started with a combination of vowels, right? Omicron, upsilon, alpha, wa, right? It continues. Walir, an, os. Right? Take my word for it. That says Walirianos. What it doesn't say is Valerianos. So we learn right there that the Roman letter V sounds like wa. Now we can back this up by looking at other ancient languages, because Greek authors weren't the only ones who needed to sound out Roman names. Arab historians, writing in Arabic, also wrote the name Walerianus, and they too started with the letter in their alphabet that makes an U sound. This is a waw, it says U. This is an alif, it says a. The rest of the word continues just like the Greek word. Walir, ri, a, nus, Walerianus. They do this even though ordinarily if they heard the sound v, they would represent it with the closest thing they had in their language, which was a fa, or an F sound. So if it had been pronounced Valerianus, the Arabs would have written Valerianus. So I hope this gives you some idea of how we know what we know about these consonants. That's all I have for now. Frankly, it's about 2 minutes longer than I meant to talk. I'm sure it was longer than you meant to listen. And so I'll stop here, and next time we will talk about Roman numerals and why we no longer use them. Until then, stay safe.